In today's world, we've been taught that being alone is something to be avoided. Society tells us that if we're not constantly surrounded by people, if we're not out there networking, socializing, and keeping busy, then we're missing out. It's as if being alone is some kind of curse, a flaw that needs fixing. But let me tell you something, being alone isn't a weakness. It's one of the greatest strengths you can possess. In fact, it's a superpower. A superpower that allows you to understand yourself at a level that most people will never reach. There's a common misconception that being alone equals being lonely. But the truth is, it's only loneliness if you don't know how to embrace your own company. Most people are so terrified of silence, so addicted to the noise and distraction of the outside world, that they'll do anything to fill that void. They seek validation from everyone around them because they've never learned how to validate themselves. But what they don't realize is that constantly chasing external approval is a trap. It's a sign of insecurity. It's a sign that they're not in control of their own identity. And that, my friend, is exactly where they lose their power. You see, when you're constantly seeking the presence of others to feel important, to feel like you matter, you lose touch with who you really are. You become a reflection of your environment, a puppet to everyone else's opinions and trends. You end up living life based on what others think is cool, what they think is valuable. But the moment you let go of that need for validation, you open the door to something far greater, the power of self-discovery. When you choose solitude, you stop running from your own thoughts. You stop distracting yourself with the noise of the world, and instead, you start listening to your inner voice. You hear your intuition more clearly. You begin to recognize the difference between what you truly want and what society has conditioned you to desire. And in that space, you discover your true strengths, your true potential. You develop the ability to think for yourself, to stand firm in your own beliefs, to trust your judgment above all else. And that's where the magic happens. In a world that's constantly telling you what to think, the ability to think for yourself becomes your ultimate superpower. But the power of solitude doesn't stop there. It builds resilience. Think about it. When you no longer need the approval of others, when you no longer depend on likes, comments, or attention to feel validated, you become unbreakable. The challenges that life throws at you won't crush you because you've built a foundation of self-worth so strong, it's untouchable. You've faced your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, and instead of running away, you've stood tall and confronted them. That mental toughness? It's a rarity. And it's what sets you apart from the majority. Solitude also sparks creativity. The greatest minds in history, think of the innovators, the artists, the thinkers, spent countless hours in isolation. Why? Because that's where their best ideas came to life. Solitude allows your mind to wander freely, without the constant bombardment of distractions. It creates the space for you to think deeply, to connect ideas, to explore new possibilities. It's in those quiet moments that true originality is born. So the next time you're alone, don't think of it as wasted time. Think of it as a golden opportunity to tap into your creative potential. But it doesn't end there. Solitude also sharpens your perception. When you're always talking, always surrounded by noise, you miss things. But when you're alone, your senses heighten. You begin to observe things that others overlook. You start noticing the subtle shifts in body language, the intentions behind words, the patterns in people's behavior. This kind of awareness gives you an edge. It helps you see the world more clearly. It gives you the ability to make decisions with confidence because you're not clouded by outside influences. And perhaps the greatest gift of solitude is peace. In a world that's constantly demanding your attention, pulling you in 1,000 directions, the ability to step back and find stillness is invaluable. You don't always need to be in the hustle. You don't always need to be available, explaining yourself, or justifying your actions to others. When you learn how to be alone, you gain control. You gain control over your energy, your emotions, your time. And in that stillness, you realize something powerful: you are enough. Being alone isn't loneliness. Loneliness is feeling disconnected from yourself, even when you're surrounded by others. But solitude? Solitude is power. It's the strength to stand tall in your own presence. To feel whole without the need for anyone else's validation. It's the space where you grow, where you build your inner fortress, and where you become the person you were always meant to be. Society will try to convince you that you need constant social interaction to be happy, to be fulfilled. But the truth is, the happiest, most successful, and most self-aware individuals are the ones who've learned to embrace solitude. They've learned to thrive in their own company. So take the time. Take the time to be alone. Use it to grow, to reflect, to become the strongest version of yourself. Because when you master the art of being alone, you unlock the ultimate power. And that power, my friend, makes you unstoppable. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.